You're listening to Forward Faster, bite-sized insights for entrepreneurs.
Hello, welcome. I'm Holly Barrett, and you are listening to the Forward Faster podcast series. I'm excited because today we're going to explore the area of quantum security. And I have the founder and CEO of Haqean, Hanaan Hashim. And I also have the Chief Technology Officer, Farhan Firaq. And they're with me today to talk about what Haqean is really doing in the area of increasing the security aspects of some of our critical supply chain initiatives. So welcome to both of you, and thanks for joining the podcast series today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Holly. We're doing good. Thank you.
So Hanaan, tell me a little bit about the problems that you're seeing with today's current security procedures, and what led you to believe that there was a better way of approaching some of the challenges that we're facing out there in the industry?
Sure. So random number generation is very much required to solve today's industry's biggest problem, that is in the encryption. So everything from your Wi-Fi to your server to your root card relies on good random number generation. But unfortunately, with today's procedures, the existing systems relies on RSAs, which are vulnerable to third-party attacks or AES standards or any of the existing cryptography protocols. So that's where we believe there's so much of scope in encrypting the digital assets and the physical assets using a procedure that cannot be cloned. So thanks to the quantum mechanics, now we can do the whole procedure without a third party being interfered.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting. I know that the area of quantum is really exploding now in terms of the ability to use these random numbers in different ways that can really bolster the security process. So tell me, what industries are you seeing the greatest threats right now, and where are you going to focus with a solution relative to quantum security?
Sure. So encryption in the digital, encrypting a digital asset is relatively easier. But when it comes to encrypting a physical asset, that's a very tough challenge. And the surge in the counterfeit goods during the pandemic, has sparked enormous demand for the authentication protection. So one of the industry that we see is extremely vulnerable is the pharma industry. So the global pharma is now moving towards a serialized world. What that means is there are 40 plus countries right now that have the regulatory mandates in place. So the regulatory mandates require the serialization and the verification or the product tracking at a saleable unit. However, there are two pressing challenges. One is in detecting the falsified medicines, and the other one is in stopping the diversion.
That's really interesting. So when I go to get my medicine at a pharmacy, I just have a natural assumption that it's going to be quality, or if I take something off the shelf with my medicine. So you're saying that you can apply this technology to different steps within that pharmaceutical process to make sure that that not only the components that are going into the medicine quality, but also the final product, right?
Absolutely. So the interesting part is this is for the first time the quantum technology is actually applied at the product security level. There are quite a number of interesting technologies now that is used to encrypt the digital assets, but this is for the first time something like this is emerging, and it would be very interesting to see how we could take this further.
Oh, wow. So Farhan, give us a behind the scenes look then at what happens with quantum security. Like, how is it really applied to those physical assets in a different way?
So what we do is we generate this pure random numbers using quantum mechanical process. Quantum mechanical process in nature are unpredictable. So their path, their motion is completely unpredictable. So what we do is once we split a laser light, we get quantum optical fluctuations on the other end. So once we digitize this, we get this random numbers. So then the next step is we capture microscopic images of the products. Then by taking these random numbers, we generate physically unclonable functions of product. In layman's language, we are capturing a person's image with their fingerprint. Even if some twin brother appears claiming to be that person, we have the fingerprint of the person. So similarly, we are helping people to identify between real and fake products by capturing the physically unclonable function of a product, which is unique for each.
Wow. So this whole concept, I loved how you gave it the layman terms because I am not an expert, obviously. So this fingerprint kind of concept then could be applied to many different things. So what other industries are you seeing, Farhan, that this could be a critical asset to ensuring quality and anti-counterfeit procedures?
So as of now, we are concentrating on pharma, but moving on to next industries are document security, wherein we can help big firms, banks to identify between real and fake documents. Then obviously your luxury products. Next time you buy something from e-commerce site, a product like Dolce and Gabbana, it might be a counterfeit. So we can assure that that's original. Then coming to fintech industry, we can make physically unclonable debit cards, uh, which give you a perfect kind of security.
You're telling me this, and I'm thinking of my son just bought some very expensive sneakers, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he said, "And I had to pay like $30 extra to make sure that they were authentic." And so I was like, "Oh my gosh!" He loves the sneakers, by the way. But what is if we look at counterfeiting and we look at the impact that this is having, what's the scale or size of this potential industry that you're seeing?
So if you look into pharma, the fake medicine industry itself is around $200 billion.
Wow.
And close to 80% of the international trade happens to be counterfeited by 80%. And apart from,
80%?
yeah,
80% count.
yeah,
Wow.
there is a survey which says that by 2022, counterfeit goods gonna drain trillions of dollars in economy and might cause millions of jobs at risk. So this is a big impact of counterfeit.
That's huge. I did not know that it was 80%. Wow, that makes me feel really insecure and really good that you're bringing this product to the market. So, Hanaan, when you think about accelerating this technology and commercializing this, I know that you have participated in the Luminate accelerator and you're in cohort 3. What was that like for you? What was the biggest benefit that you received by being in an accelerator like Luminate?
Holly, I believe this was a very holistic experience for me. Like, besides the initial capital that Luminate has provided us, I mean, there are a plethora of resources, like in terms, be it the access to the lab. We were actually able to niche down a product offering just in the second month of our accelerator. And besides that, the mentorship, the one-on-one session, and all the sessions that we had participated, during the cohort was absolutely beneficial in helping us reach this stage. And we have completed our MVP in just a matter of 6 months.
Wow, that's amazing because, like I said, we really do need this technology. Um, you know, what in thinking back and around your whole entrepreneurial experience, does something stand out in terms of advice that you would give? Because I know you've been kind of in this space for, geez, since you were a teenager. You've been interested in having your own company and innovating technology.
So this is more like a reminder that I give myself all the time. Like, it's incredibly important to have a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. And what that means is, I think that actually boils down to three things. For me, it's taking on a challenge wholeheartedly. So before coming to Luminate, we still haven't had a lot of things figured out, but both of us were completely okay in taking that challenge upfront. And the second thing is about learning from the setbacks and trying again. And this was the phase that we had to go through in the month 2 or 3 of our accelerator. I mean, we had made a pivot, and there were a lot of, constructive criticisms and also other feedback that was provided by our mentors and advisors. And finally, it would be taking that criticism and hearing that criticism and taking that constructive action. I believe these are the three things that one has to follow and should be open to a growth mindset.
I think that's great. And I think, I've had the experience of seeing all the different cohort companies in Luminate over the last 3 years. And I would say you guys stand out for your passion. And I think that passion really drives progress, especially when able, just as you're saying, to take the criticism and the feedback and turn that into progress. And I think you guys do that really well. So Farhan, what trends are happening in quantum that it's becoming such a huge topic for technologists right now?
Yeah, basically what quantum computing means is having enormous amount of power to compute something. For example, last year, Google solved a problem which could take 10,000 years for a supercomputer. And today, IBM doubled its quantum computing capacity. What that means is you, as an internet user, if these quantum computers can solve this enormous big problem, they can easily crack your RSA encryption. Tomorrow, your mails can be cracked, your WhatsApp messages can be cracked. And what I advise everyone is to have post-quantum safe solutions. Post-quantum safe solution means having security systems which are quantum resistant. So I advise every internet user, every digital service user to move towards having a quantum safe solution.
So in following some of the quantum stories, there is a misconception that it is all about quantum computing or it's just about quantum security. What's behind that misconception, and what would you say to as a response to that?
So till there, there is a major misconception that the quantum technologies is something that's only going to be used in the encryption area, or it could be only on the data security or privacy. And most of the startups are actually focused on solving some of the very fundamental problems in this. So quantum technologies could deepen our understanding of complex molecules. The reason why we are switching to post-quantum security is because if the quantum computing comes into effect, it can crack our encryption algorithms. The quantum technologies could also make the capital markets more efficient. It can even accelerate the development of better batteries and also realize the promise of a strong AI. So this is not really limited to one particular industry or vertical. There's a lot of scope for a technology like this, and that's what we hope to achieve. We are post-quantum security solution, and we would love to be established as a leader in the post-quantum safe encryption.
So fast forward 10 years, where do you see Haqean as a part of this quantum movement, as well as where do you see it as a company?
So we would have certainly established, our presence in this post-quantum security industry, and we would have been a market leader 10 years later. And as much as we wanted to work in the developed regions or developed nations, we also wanted to establish a footprint in the developing regions, because this is a very pressing problem in countries like India, in Africa, and Southeast Asia. So that's what we plan to achieve 10 years down, or could be a few years down the line.
Well, I think you're already on the road, and I would say keep going, because we certainly need this, especially where there's health implications of taking counterfeit medicine. So I'm very happy to hear that you're focused on the pharmaceutical industry first. Thank you so much for joining us on the Forward Faster podcast series. I would encourage everyone to subscribe and continue to follow our spectacular entrepreneurs who are really changing or transforming industry, as well as get tips for any type of business that if you're an entrepreneur. And you can subscribe on the NextCorps website. That's NextCorps, or you can join the series on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.